And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of Culturally Conscious Communications here on the LIB Radio, LIB TV, and LivingInBlack.com networks. My name is Keedy Awadu, aka The Conscious Rasta. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives. We deal with entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Wednesday. This is the 14th day of May, the year 2025 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on LivingInBlack.com. We've got an exciting program for you today. I hope you do enjoy it. Today on LIB Radio, we're going to revisit the Kujichagulia villages as learning academies towards the aim of moving, getting the villages into motion again. Today on LIB Radio, we revisit the idea of pulling back from the edge of the abyss and creating spaces where our African cultural roots can rule supreme. The people of America largely think that we have reverted to savagery as a group. The people of the UK believe that we have reverted to savagery as a group. Some of us say that we have adopted this state of mind out of the trauma of violence, exclusion, and humiliation served to us for over 400 years. What will determine the fate to be our true and proper fate as a people? Will we be able to survive this fade to black scenario before 2025? 2065, I should say, 2065. Through the creation of our own Kujichagulia villages as permaculture campuses, we can rewrite our future. It is not too late. It is not too late. So that's what we are going to be revisiting today. I've got the book out. Once again, I'm pulling out this book, Kujichagulia Villages, a practical plan. Practical. Emphasize that word, practical plan for self-determination. If it's practical, then it should be regarded as practicable. Let me read to you from the back cover, and then we're going to pick certain parts of the book and going to go through it. We are calling upon highly motivated people with skills and resources. There are significant economic, cultural, and social challenges which have emerged that threaten our group's ability to sustain itself. Our needs persist for clean water, wholesome food, expanding economics, security, education, optimal health, and freedom from incarceration. It is our vision that within the controlled environment, of Kujichagulia villages, supported by binding connections to urban communities, we can reduce the gap between that which we so badly need and those vital elements which revitalize our communities and their inhabitants. The best way that we can approach this transforming vision is by coordinating large numbers of creative and talented people to work together to create a dynamic cultural environment. Within the villages we operate, within the very values which brought people together at the dawn of civilization, and where we share our surplus toward economic freedom and security. We must return to these traditions now to protect ourselves from increasingly hostile political, social, and economic conditions within increasingly dangerous cities. The key Swahili word, Kujichagulia, self-determination, symbolizes a powerful tool through which we can transform our negative trends into a dynamic empowerment that will move us toward a new destiny. This challenges us to engage in practical activities with predictable outcomes. Our talents and skills must be redirected to that which best serves the group's self-interest. Each of us has a critical part to play in making our self-determination practical. Each of us has a critical part to play. I'm not going to read the parts of the book I normally do read. I am going to read one part, which I always read. And Kujichagulia, again, if we're not clear, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. That is a quote from the creator of Kwanzaa, Maulana Karenga. This book is really good. I like the way I do the Adinkra symbols. I hope you can see it. The Adinkra symbols. These symbols are very, very critical towards what we aim to do. This symbol that looks like a bullseye is the Adinkra Hene symbol for greatness, charisma, and leadership. The other one, Jiname, we see. This one means fear nothing but the Almighty Creator. I fill the book with a lot of these Adinkra symbols. There are throughout the book. The Asram Ne in Saromi, the symbol of a new beginning. I use these throughout the book to anchor us. Symbols are very powerful icons, and they do anchor us. I'm going to go forward to, this is a good place to start. There is a pressing need to separate from the cities. I'm going to read a portion of this chapter, if not the whole chapter. And this is anchored by the Fahode symbol and of independence. Fahode. A truly history-changing wave of rural to urban migration of African Americans took place from the beginning of the 20th century. Seeking to find refuge from the brutality of an American apartheid, which was called Jim Crow, an estimated 500,000 blacks left southern states during the First World War and relocated to industrial centers such as Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, New York, Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and countless other cities, large and small. Another wave followed the Great Depression and expanded again when the industrial labor demands of the Second World War compelled many more to join the northward migration. The primary reasons for this migration were economic advantage, security, unrestricted access to educational resources, and the right to organize ourselves without violent restriction toward political empowerment. For anyone who has knowledge of the conditions that Southern Blacks suffered through for more than a century after emancipation, we can certainly see how apartheid in Southern states would compel them to seek an alternative and to risk all by migrating away from the lands that they had known for many generations. Within recent years, and especially currently, there has risen an intense debate about guns, defending ourselves, households, and our land. All sides certainly agree that land is ultimately a collective investment which must be protected. Guns are best used to defend the commons, those lands and resources that are shared among large groups. Thus, when the media points our attention to the massacre of 24 school children and their teachers, as took place in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, people should be rightly outraged and demanding of some alternative course for the nation's development. Yet, what of the hundreds of young Blacks and their teachers killed within every one of America's largest cities each year for decades? Why does there seem to be a lack of national outrage and urgent efforts to put meaningful solutions into place? Does America have selective blinders to the misery of Africans compared to everyone else? Should we be reasonably expect that the government agencies should take care of this issue, which hurts our people so much, when these same government agencies have such a long record of overlooking our people's fundamental need for security, economy, freedom, and dignity? Something profoundly historical is occurring as America has entered the 21st century, which we had better be aware of. We are witnessing for the first time in our development since the end of Jim Crow, apartheid, the status of children not achieving the quality of life of their parents. Comparing the intergenerational status of one, the great generation, two, the baby boomers, three, Generation X, four, Generation Z, the millennials, we are now witnessing a degeneration and decline in health, educational achievement, and wealth transfer. This degeneration is measurable, widespread, and totally unsustainable, even for another 4 generations. Further, since the legalization of abortion in 1973, American Blacks have become the greatest terrorists in the destruction of our population and family. Despite so many positive advances over so many areas, we have done so while sacrificing a third of our population to uncertainty, selfish expediency, and moral corruption initiated through foreign cultural values. So that paragraph gives you a hint of what is going on. I see you in the house for Africa One is tuned in. Hotep, Brother Keity, and Global LIB family. Hotep to you, beloved. We send you greetings. Something terrible is happening. I'm going to skip over a couple of parts. One chapter, why did our forefathers leave the land? I'm going to skip over another one, what something happened to the metropolitan industrial base. That's a very, very important. And it is anchored by the Adinkra symbol of this one here. And that is the symbol of endurance and resourcefulness. It's called Aya. I'm going to go forward to one of my favorite parts of the book. And all throughout the book, I've got a lot of photographs. It's hard to tell this because of but the photographs are of us working at the Kujichagulia villages, working. Here we're building the base of what will be my first construction of a solar dehydrator. Very important. And I am going to go to page 25. And I did skip over this important chapter. The Adinkra symbol is She Wanye, and it's a symbol for that which cannot be burnt. She Wanye. And I'm going to go to page 25. And I'm going to read to you what I've written here. Notes on social engineering. Social engineering. We have tried and failed at praying a solution into process by petitioning to invisible deities. We must be more scientific and systematic in our approach. We must be more scientific and systematic in our approach. Social engineering is the method by which the leaders of large structures redirect a people's resources and focus towards mass mobilization aimed at solving widespread problems affecting the group. Note the following very precise definition for social engineering. I would say this is a most precise formula for social engineering. Check. Sufficient financial backing for regular utilization of mass media, constantly to communicate the desired objectives to the common man. New values can be deliberately created, disseminated, and adopted as personal and collective goals highly desirable of achievement. But the coordinated effort of major social institutions, particularly the educational, recreational, and religious, must be enlisted with the ready cooperation of those in control of the mass media. By utilizing the various tested devices, our modern genius in advertising may alight upon simple phrases, well organized in sequence and timing, and coordinated with other efforts geared to realize the grand design. But there are required a host of laborers with plenty of financial backing. That quote was from sociologist Philip J. Allen, a professor at the University of Virginia. He was quoted in the book, The Hidden Persuaders by Vance Packard. Going forward, this excerpt contains some 26, not 30, 26 separate points, which must be orchestrated together to make for a unified strategic program that will influence the lives of the group's members. These changes are intended to last for generations. Like a concert band, various critical segments of society must be guided by skilled intellect. These agencies include financial backing, education, recreation, religion, and mass media. Unless and until we pull together such a social engineering process into place, we run the risk of losing it all. Other civilizations have disappeared from history. We study the great historians who have brought us a foundation of our successes and failures of the past. What happened to the people of Sumer stands a great riddle. They disappeared because they forgot their history. Tragically, too many of our group members within the U.S. and other diaspora nations are clueless as to who are such luminary historians as Sheikh Anta Diop, Chancellor Williams, Drusilla Dungy Houston, John Henry Clark, Theophile Obenga, Ivan Van Sertima, Anthony Browder, Asa Hilliard, John G. Jackson, J. A. Rogers, Joseph Ben Yakinen, Marimba Ani, and others who have worked so hard. And I include in that Robin Walker, who have worked so hard to give us a world history, past record that we could be amazingly proud of. I am presuming that you, because you have chosen to read this book, actually do care and are not suffering from this historical literacy deficit. Still, beyond a small percentage of us that actually do care whether our global historical record is being taught to our group members, this does a sizable percentage of our youth, or their parents for that matter, do they even have the slightest knowledge of who of these great scholars truly are? You know, I find myself asking people very frequently, and it doesn't matter, it's all classes of people, Black nationalists or so-called Black nationalists, educated people, just ordinary of our ordinary people. Who are these people? Sheikh Anta Diop, Chancellor Williams, Drusilla Dungy Houston, John Henry Clark, Theophile Obenga, Ivan Van Sertima, Anthony Browder, and Asa Hilliard, John G. Jackson, J. A. Rogers, Joseph Ben Yakinen, Marimba Ani, Robin Walker. Who are they? Why am I reading their names? I ask this question of so many people, and the question is, I don't have a clue who they are. They will know the name of Marcus Garvey, but that's it. Religious leaders, I dare not say. Going forward, there is a Kenyan proverb which says, until the lion learns to write, the tale of the hunt will always reflect the glories of the hunter. We must do a better job of informing our masses of the great historical record which our group members should hold dear as our collective inheritance. One of the most important rules of social engineering is the mastery of mass communications. We need to control such facilities to teach our people, inform them, ignite unified action, highlight opportunities, and forge appropriate responses to security challenges. I'm going to skip forward. Oof. I'm going to skip forward and go to, oh, I'm not going to skip this part. Land acquisition and development. And this is anchored by the symbol of the Sankofa bird. You see it right there. The Sankofa symbol meaning go back and fetch. Sankofa. Land is not considered a renewable resource. Blacks haven't fully comprehended the impact of the 70 to as much as 85%, according to different accounts, of farm acreage ownership of our farmland that was disowned by African Americans during the 20th century. Our forebears worked so hard to acquire and develop this land, this farmland. Their descendants did a very poor job of keeping, maintaining, and developing the land for the wealth of theirs and future generations. According to research from the 1912 edition of the Negro Yearbook, as cited in the book Desegregating the Dollar by Robert E. Weems, Jr., at the beginning of the 20th century, our appreciation of land acquisition and development was much more focused. I quote from the book. It is estimated that the Negroes are adding each year to their wealth from $20 million to $30 million. They know they now own about 20 million acres of land, or 31,000 square miles, an area almost equal to the size to that of Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Negroes now own and operate 64 banks, 100 insurance companies, 300 drugstores, and over 20,000 dry goods and grocery stores and other industrial enterprises. That quote was from Desegregating the Dollar by Robert Weems. I write, churches, once the backbone institutions to provide for the welfare of our people, have become entirely different and are now being led by individuals expressing markedly different values than those of their grandparents. According to research I earlier published in Minister Thou Art Bound, The Corruption of the Black Clergy in the U.S., 1998, throughout our history, Black churches served 14 critical functions that held our communities together. Today, some 80,000 Black churches in the U.S. are the last widespread institutions still under exclusive control of Black leadership. They still have immense resources compared to whatever else is in our community, and facilities which could be utilized toward our vision of self-determined reparations. The majority challenge with religious institutions stems from the low educational level and inconsistent values within the leadership. There are undoubtedly many outstanding leaders within these religious institutions, yet the overall momentum is still going the wrong way. Oh, and I didn't complete that thought earlier. From 1912, our people owned some 20 million acres of land. Again, as it was described, an area almost equal to that of Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. When we look at the land controlled by blacks at the time of writing of this book, it had decreased from 20 million to 3 million, a loss of some 85% of our land. Going forward, one culturally inspired church, the Shrine of the Black Madonna, with several urban chapels, has acquired some 5,000 acres of rural land in South Carolina. Purchase of the Beulah Land Farms was part of a bold vision for empowerment of the group's visionary founder, Jaramogi Abebe Ajiman, formerly known as Albert B. Cleage, Jr., 1912 to 2000. Within recent years, however, possession of the land is reportedly in danger because the second generation of Shrine leadership disputed as to how to manage church assets, including the Beulah Land Farms. Now, I haven't heard from the Church of the Black Madonna in some time. Maybe I should have them on and interview them. And I don't know, and maybe I'll find out the answer right now. Church of the Shrine of the Black Madonna and Beulah, Beulah, land. Let me get the right name. It is called the Beulah Land Farms. Beulah Land Farms. So I'm looking it up right now. Bear with me. Black Prophetic Ecologies. And at the Beulah Land Farms, the past is based on strong ideological beliefs. Bear with me. I'm looking at a website dated July 27, 2020. Black Prophetic Black Ecologies, Liberatory Agriculture on Beulah Land Farms. And the pictures do look good. I want to see how recently the website has been updated. I don't see it seeing 2013, but that's not necessarily talking about the Beulah Land Farms. Let me just show what they do have. And I'm going to bookmark this because it's very important that we preserve this legacy. Our goal is to build a productive and sustainable, positive model of self-reliance and self-determination that can inspire a generation to learn to live as a free people by seizing the opportunity afforded them in a competition society in which no one is going to help us. We have to help ourselves. We can and we will. The National Farm Project of the Shrines of the Black Madonna and Pan-African Orthodox Church. Now, what I do want to do is I'm going to go to homepage and see how recent we have an excerpt or an entry as late as May 5th, 2025. Of course, we do see the predictable things 2026 Paul Murray Book Prize. So we're going to do the best we can to find out what is happening with the Beulah Farms here. Bear with me 1 second here while I try and get this crust out of my throat. Much better. I am curious as to what is going on with the Beulah land farms, and I'm just not seeing much there. And hopefully I will be able to see more. Let's try this. Beulah, Beaulah. Sorry, you are not allowed to proceed. I can proceed on this, but I just got to spell it right. Beulah. That was what I spelled it wrong. Beulah. Land farms. Let's try it one more time because it doesn't seem to be coming up. Beulah Land Farms. And it doesn't look like it's coming up. So I think that they may have separated from the land, but I can't find it. And yeah, that's just not happening. So that's it. There were other holdings. The Nation of Islam does have a small farm plot. I don't know much more details about it. I did know more about it at a previous time, but I have been out of contact with the Nation of Islam for a number of years. I'm not hostile towards them, not at all. It's just that I have been out of contact. What are we going to do? Well, let's begin the villages. Now, let me let you in on something. I got a notice recently, and it was shared in my email that there is a conference taking place in Ghana. And I can submit an abstract to be able to participate in this conference. I'm going to share with you just a little bit of this abstract. An abstract is, of course, a piece of a much larger research document, research paper. And I think this is pretty good. Let me share with you just two parts of this. Number one, the purpose of this abstract. Since 2008, a dedicated group of Africans operating in the U.S., the Caribbean, and West Africa has engaged in building a number of small landholder projects under the banner of Kujichagulia villages. These projects aim to create a permaculture campus where our members can acquire skills for self-sufficiency. This includes training in permaculture techniques, cultivating fruits and vegetables, construction, and other essential skills needed for establishing independent communities. under the design methodology approach on African-owned land, spanning 4 locations in the United States, along with 2 plots in Ghana and 1 in Uganda. We focused on teaching and honing the skills necessary to build independent, self-sufficient communities, drawing heavily on the approaches developed by Doctors George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington, which emphasize African labor and traditional building techniques. We are committed to modernizing these methods by combining cutting-edge technologies with enduring African practices. And so the abstract goes on. I'm not going to give it away, even though competing, well, I'll be able to talk about it more once the abstract has been received. And I think it's going to be received. We have this book. In this book, Kujichagulia Villages, we outlined 110 jobs, ways to make money at the villages. Let me just share with you this part of the chapter, building with the part of the book, building with the intention of sustainability. And there is a picture of myself with Baba Khalifa. And I know it's a very poor picture. And I will be able to put together a PowerPoint. In fact, I actually do have a PowerPoint I can share with you about the Kujichagulia villages. I want to share with you this chapter and the Hue Mu Dua, the symbol of examination and quality control. You see it right there, quality control. One of the primary motivations for this specific set of actions called forth in this edition of the Conscious Rasta Report is that the current system by which tens of millions of Africans in America and other parts of the world is unsustainable. This has been described with significant detail in the report up to this point, and obviously realms of data can be presented to further develop this theme. Therefore, at this point, our primary intention is to point out areas in which our efforts will serve to resolve this tremendous problem, this tremendous dilemma toward the most positive outcome that our creative resourcefulness can present. Creative resourcefulness, that's a very important point there. Our creative resourcefulness can solve this problem. I see you in the house also, Basu Randa Aquava. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you. It is absolutely a joy to have you with us as well. Basu Randa and For Africa One. So I want to talk to you about what we can do. I must emphasize our need to reduce our individual costs of living by collectivizing whenever possible. All of us needs the basics of food, clothing, shelter, security, and education, among other critical needs. The current system by which these are being consumed is depleting the larger group of critically needed capital resources, which could be redirected into more desirable facets of our economy. Food sustenance is one area where the amount of money being spent on the micro and macro scale could be better invested in a self-serving system. Recent news reports on the growth of the natural foods markets leaves us with great hopes that we could similarly get great return on investment on our Kujichagulia village food production projects. An inspiring and revealing article appeared in the Los Angeles Times on June 13, 2013, written by Tiffany Su. While the article contains several impressive data analysis, showing that this is indeed a great area for growth. Certain passages stood out, which I wish to cite for your understanding. Quote, Wild Oats Market Incorporated. The closed purveyor of organic and natural foods is planning a comeback this year, potentially aided by local billionaire Ron Burkle. The company, which has been out of operation since 2007, now says on its website that it is reintroducing its brand, bringing beverages, snacks, cereals, pasta, and other goods to store shelves. The trademark could cover a brand offering retail and online grocery store services with features such as home delivery, phone-in orders, convenience store items, and gasoline, according to the document. The application also described catering and takeout food services. Burkle is no stranger to supermarket deals. The magnate was the largest shareholder of Wild Oats when the brand was sold for $565 million to rival Whole Foods Market in 2007. Earlier in his career, Burkle handled leveraged buyouts of grocery stores such as Food for Less, Ralph's, and Fred Meyer. In 2011, Ukaipa was part of a consortium of investors that pumped $490 million in financing into the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, or A&P. The infusion allowed the Northeastern Supermarket Company, which owns the Pathway chain, to emerge from Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It has since A&P did go back into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and I think they sold off at least 150 stores. I did document that in the book, The Repairing. And unfortunately, of those 150 stores that they sold off at an average cost of less than $2 million each, Africans in America bought 0 of them. Africans in America are the only ethnic group that owns no supermarket chains. They own a few individual stores. Yes, they do, but not chains. Chains are 3 or more stores under the same leadership and ownership. I will say that Africans in America own, I believe, 2 owned by the Nigerians, but not their African American cousins. I continue with this story. As consumers become more health focused and body conscious, food products deemed to be organic and natural are gaining traction. On Sunday, Target Corporation launched its Simply Balanced line of 250 products made without artificial ingredients and largely sans genetically modified content, largely excluding GMOs, not excluding them. They said largely sans. Hey, much respect to you, Target, but you didn't go far enough. Last spring, Berkeley-based organic food company Annie's Incorporated went public, opening at $31.11 a share. The stock has since risen nearly 28%, closing Wednesday at $39.77 a share. So far this year, Whole Foods stock is up nearly 12%. I write, these ideas regarding the viability of the full-service supermarket sector, an 80 billion annual chunk of our own domestic consumption, is an area where we would best to capture market share and convert it to economic viability and employment for our own people. There are many other opportunities that we verified which would be equally lucrative. Jobs creation within and beyond our Kujichagulia village's environment must include, point, food, clothing, shelter, security, and education, meaning the basics of sustenance for our group. Point, providing lifelines to each of the villages for our self-developing urban collectives. Point, building sustaining communities independent of the mainstream energy and utilities grid. Point, assuring that travelers from our global family are taken care of when they are within our territories. And a point, assuring that no families, children, or imprisoned member of our group gets left behind as we progress. So the last part of this book is the economic ideas. I'm going to just serve one page of them. Oof, it's hard. It goes on for the economics part of this is about 12 pages long. Let me just serve one page. I said I was going to serve one page of it. This is number 17 of there are 18 major categories. Under the 18 major categories, there are 110 line items contributing to this. This is from page 71. Number 17, writers' workshops and book production. Handy that I should turn right there. We will have annuals writers' retreats and awards. 2, we will be doing editing and ghost writing services. 3, we will do book formatting and new author coaching. 4, printing facilities. In fact, print on demand printing facilities. And 5, alternative media production for authors, meaning set up a soundstage and help the authors now get their books into film making. Why not us? And number 18 on this is cultural tourism as an economic base for the villages. Number A, museums. B, research library. C, a country marketplace. I grew up in Ohio and I grew up around a lot of Amish Mennonite people, and they didn't participate in the larger community at all. But they did have their country marketplace, and the last time I was there, the country marketplace was doing really, really well. And from my understanding, it is a super economy now. Country marketplace. Number 4, books, DVDs, and audios. Number 5, under cultural tourism, a restaurant. Number 6, preserved foods, our own label. Number 7, no, I don't know what's number 7. This is number, I see. This is what's in the country marketplace. This includes arts and crafts, as well as fashion products and traditional holiday celebrations. Kwanzaa, Juneteenth, birth anniversaries, harvest festivals, Mardi Gras, African national holidays, Holocaust commemorations, and one thing that I had come to mind was spring break for HBCUs. Would also include spiritual center, worship center services, a meditation garden, training for African-centered spiritual systems, marriage ceremonies, rites of passage and naming ceremonies, and honoring their great ancestors. We have so many places to celebrate who we are. And that's going to be our goal. So time has come to launch our survival arcs. War Hor is a symbol of vigilance to sound as the battle cry. And we can see the War Hor, and let me put it over on this other screen. This symbol, it's the time to launch the battle, the survival arcs. And we need to put into place these steps. And there are a number of steps, 33 steps to put these into place. They include 1 through 10. Reparations Center for Research and Advocacy. 2, camping retreats. 3, organic food and herbs production. 4, honoring of the ancestors. 5, senior residences to house our senior citizens. 6, scholar retirement facilities where our scholars can come and retire and live free in exchange for them passing on their wisdom. 7, permaculture training labs. 8, a conference center. 9, mobile development force construction crew. And number 10, recruiting road trips, taking RVs out on the road to recruit people to become a part of our Kujichagulia village. There's 33 ideas to initiate immediately. And that was 1 through 10 of those. What do you think? I will take a few minutes. Do you have this book? If you do have the book, let me know. Just say, I have the book. Do you have this book, Kujichagulia Villages? If not, get it today at http://keidi.biz/CRP 2012. Now, that is where you can get it. Kujichagulia. Let me make sure I spelled that right. Yeah. So do you have the book Kujichagulia Villages? If you do, let me know. For Africa One, do you have it? Rhonda, Basu Rhonda? I can only tell that there's only just the 2 people involved in the conversation. I am disappointed in myself, but I do the best I can. For Africa One says, yes, I have the book. Thank you, beloved. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your devotion to this program. We are committed to you as you are committed to you and to us. And I am going to, wait a minute, stop that. Microsoft, you're so intrusive. And I'm going to put this up here in this website. Oh, that's that. Paste. There we go. Woo. And right now, I'm going to copy this, Revisiting Kujichagulia Villages. Do you have the book? Copy. Copy. Come on, come on, come on. Don't do this. Copy and paste it here. Do you have the book, Kujichagulia Villages? On that note, I'm worn out. I am worn out. Thank you for Africa One. I appreciate, love you for your commitment. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. The few, the valiant, the brave. I'm going forward with it. I am going to submit this abstract, and I'm going to go to Africa. I know some other people that will be going with me. And we've been planning on making this trip for some time. I do have my brother Daoudi is there, and he is in position to help us to build this. And that is what we're doing. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now. And we plan on doing good things, doing great things with what we have. It is our legacy. And we are very proud of this legacy. On that note, thank you all for tuning in to LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends we have our own now. And we're very proud of what we have, what we have built, and where we're going. I'll talk to you tomorrow for Tech and Future Talk. Same time, same place, right here.